Hello, 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 hello. Welcome everybody to episode 4 of the Thursday Thoughts. I am your man, your host, Banele Tshabalala. Okay, so look, I want to still say thank you very much to everybody that's listened to the previous podcast. I appreciate all the feedback you guys actually gave me. And I also would like to say thank you for subscribing and commenting, because that actually builds and helps the algorithm and allows more people to actually discover me and our conversations and what you guys actually feed back to me. Because when I get here, it's not because I want to say what I'm saying, but to a certain level, you guys are also directing me of how I actually portray certain elements. So without further ado, I would like to talk about feelings. And I know that might be a little bit of a tough one, but end of the day, we are all human beings. And one of the things that actually makes us different is the ability to utilize our feelings or our emotions to actually navigate through life itself. And just to give you a little bit of background of how this actually came about. So I was looking at my journey as a guy who's been in corporate and also now currently just doing my own thing and working for myself. It has actually shaped me in ways which I never thought was possible. And what do I mean by saying this? I found myself looking back and in retrospect and seeing the number of times I've made decisions based on what the environment is saying or doing and listening into what the universe is communicating and navigating through that. I've found myself at certain intervals, not once, not twice, actually leaving jobs before actually finding out what am I doing next. And look, I wouldn't necessarily say this is actually the best way to go about it. I want to say that because it's not everybody that can actually do it. Though you will find as you grow and mature and understand what you need and love in life, that sometimes your health is way more important and your dreams sometimes are bigger than what you think they actually are. And that's where you sometimes just make the jump, the leap of faith. I actually saw a social media post which read, okay, I'm probably paraphrasing, but it read, an entrepreneur is somebody who first jumps and then builds the airplane as they are free falling. So if you think about it, you don't necessarily have the company that you envision. It's a vision. It's a story. It's something that exists in your head. It doesn't exist, guys. It doesn't. Let's be real. We all know this. It does not exist. Yet you still go out and you say, look, screw it. I will just do it. And you go out there. And I looked at this and I was asking myself, how has it actually affected leadership, my leadership? And I looked around and I was like, you know what? When correctly diverted or controlled, feelings can be the most powerful element that you can utilize as a human being to actually get to where you want to be or need to be. Because let's face it, when some leaders make certain calls, they tell you it's a gut feeling. And remember, it's a gut feeling. So that part of being able to feel certain elements without full proof, just a little bit of the information and being able to make a call is also very, very important for your growth and for you as a leader of how you actually utilize these feelings. And of course, there were kinds of emotions also. All right. So when you think about it, sometimes when you are overly emotional or just in your feelings only, sometimes your logic can be blinded. And we see this also not in just work environments. We also see this in romantic relationships where you know that something is wrong. You know that this is not working out, but your feeling is saying stay. Your feelings are saying this is the person. And logic is telling you that everything in front of you says 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals to 10. And yet we find ourselves stuck in the middle, and we end up second guessing what we are actually seeing, whether it's true or not. Look, I don't mean to strike a chord with that, but that also happens in the work environment, where you just, as a leader, you like this single person, and it's not romantic. It's not romantic. Let me be very clear. Yet it's all about you liking this person as a human being, and sometimes that actually blinds your vision, where you don't see that this person is not necessarily serving the purpose of the business in the manner that they can be, if you were to actually look at it in the correct terms and apply logic. And sometimes we find ourselves doing that, and we end up doing a disservice to the company, whether it's my personal company or the person who employs me, either or. But the inverse also is true, or possible at least. There are some pros. So think about it. Steve Jobs, for instance. He founded a company, got kicked out, had to come back, and he pushed through. He persevered in order to make Apple come back to what we know it as now. He had the vision back in his mind back then, got kicked out, but because his emotions, his feelings, he had the feeling, he had the vision, he had that desire you could not at all shift, that burning desire. And he continued, he persevered, he pushed through. Using that emotion, he catapulted to one of the greatest minds that we have seen in the past, half a century at least. So feelings can be utilized in either or of the spectrum. It's just a matter of understanding and utilizing it for the right reasons in order to reach your goal. So for my elements, guys, I've been victim of both ends also because of my feelings. And I'm sure as you are also listening, you're also thinking to yourself, you know what, over here, I could have made a better decision had I set aside my feelings, or I at least listened to my gut. So my question for today for you is, what was the most life-changing decision that you made based on your feelings? So guys, I told you my one was actually making the jump and deciding to go solo. What was yours? What is the most life-changing decision that you have made thus far based on your feelings? And just as a parting shot, do you think emotions are good use for a leader? Or when leading, do you think they're of good use? Pop me a message right there on YouTube podcasts. Comments there, like, subscribe, and let's continue the conversation. Until next time, I am your host, Banele Tshabalala.